So I've measured enough ends for 2 inches, and I'm ready to beam that onto my loom. I'm going to put the top on here so that the ends don't jump out of the teeth of the mini reed. And then I'm going to be cutting down here and pulling it out. This is a lot neater than it usually looks because I have to break it and tie more on if you're doing lots of different colors, but since this is all one, I didn't have to break it very much. And if this was a longer warp, then it would fill up the spools a lot more, but because I'm only doing 5 yards, it's a pretty short one. So I take my scissors and cut in here. I usually do down as close to the bottom as possible. And then pull it out from in between everything. And then pull out this pin, and this turns this way. And I'm holding the ends so it doesn't come out, and my phone, and this at the same time, so hold on. Because it tends to wind back on itself, and I don't want everything to come out from in here since this isn't tied off yet. So I let a little slack out so it stopped, and then putting the pin in so it stays. So the pin's right there. And then I'm going to tie a knot in the end of this bout. So I'm going to set my phone down. And I kind of comb through and try to make it as even as possible. Using 2 hands right now. And I try to tie the knot as close to the end as possible. So everything will be the same length. Do the same thing for all the other sections that I'm doing. Sorry. So there's the knot. And then here's my leader. So I will tie a knot in this. Like that. And then slide the knot that I just made in the end of my bout that I'm about to beam, and so those are connected, and I will slide it down a little bit. Oh, this is making me dizzy and I'm not even watching it. So then I have my brake disengaged. I don't know if you can see that it's released through the loom, but it is, so I can spin this beam easily. And then I start seeing if it's lining up because I want it to be, the cords to be right in the middle of the section. So I usually spend some time trying to make sure that it's all straight and then that it will end up in the middle so everything will lay evenly. And sometimes I have to move the wheel from side to side so that it will line up. So it's not quite there. I might push the wheel a little bit to the left. So I'm pushing on the base right now. And then as you come to this first knot, you push it down so that it doesn't make a bump. So I'm holding that as I go. And I usually just use my fingers like this to guide everything in. You can buy separators, or you can I think somebody uses bike tires on there to keep it, but I've had pretty good success just touching it like this. And I just keep winding, so it's really smooth. It all goes through the comb really well because nothing was twisted. Sometimes I find if I do more than one cone at a time while I'm measuring, then it gets a little bit tangled there. And the more yarn that you have on here, the more it sticks together. So a lot of times you can get some slack where it's looser on one end of the section than it is on the other. And I usually just end up kind of sliding my hand through here to separate, and sometimes I'll do it back all the way around all the spools, but I don't really need to this time because it's a really short warp and it all should be pretty good. So just keep winding. And see, was paying so close of attention that I have two ends that are shorter than everything else because I didn't go around 2 revolutions. So what I'll probably do is add 2 ends to my next section so that I don't have knots later, or I could wind everything back on and measure 2 more ends real quick if I wanted to do that, but I'm not going to. So just keep going. So that's 1 revolution of the wheel, and back that up. If I need to back up, I can just wind it back like this because I didn't get in between the section. But your goal is to make everything lay as flat as possible so that everything's in a single layer and the tension is all even and flat, which matters a lot with a longer warp. I saw someone post, maybe in the Weevolution forum, that with every certain number of revolutions they put cardstock in between their sections. I've never done that before, but it might be worth trying to make sure everything lines up. But now I'm to the end, so it won't spin anymore onto the beam because I'm right there. So then I pull it out of the clip and the wheel wants to go up because it has weights on the back that make the section with where the mini reed goes always at the top. So then I usually wind a little bit more until the ends all get to be here. It's hard to do it with one hand. But if I had tape ready, I would get a piece of masking tape and paper like they show in the AVL video and stick a piece of masking tape on here to keep my threading order because I don't have a cross maker. And then I would take the top off of this and then wrap it around what I just wound onto my beam and tape it down so that it doesn't flop around as I'm winding the next sections on. But because I don't have tape ready, I'm just going to leave it how it is and go get a piece. But you would take this off and then move it, and then that's the end for beaming. So it went really smoothly, no problems. That was just a really short warp compared to other ones, but that's the basic idea. And then you take the pin out and move it back up to the top and start over with the next section.